All right, what's up, everybody? It is BallietBran. Happy Sunday. We got daylight savings today. We got the HEX stream at the normal 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is right now. So hope everyone's doing well. We got some good stuff to talk about today, right? We have the one individual stake that's worth $1.5 billion HEX that is supposed to end tomorrow, and then who knows if they actually end their stake or not, or what they end up doing. But $1.5 billion that everyone's talking about. So we can talk about that, and then cover some other information too, right? Richard's got some pretty cool tweets lately talking about possible things to do in the future for HEX. So want to see how everyone's doing today. Hope everyone didn't lose too much sleep with that hour. And give me just a second here. Let me just share out the stream real quick here to those on YouTube. Nice, dude. We got Pay Me Hex. Says, hey, BallietBran. Hope you're doing well, Pay Me Hex. I'm going to start the intro actually in just a second here. And we'll start sharing the stream out and see how everyone's doing, all right? So give me about 90 seconds, y'all, to share this video and then do this little intro. So just a second, guys.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.
All right. What's up, everybody? It's so cool that after the intro, now there's like another 15 people watching. So hope everyone's doing well. Sunday, we had the daylight savings today, right? So I'm starting at my normal time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We already got a couple people in the chat, so I just want to say hello to everyone. We got Crypto Butler, everyone's favorite Butler. Let's see. This is a name that I've actually never seen before. So Alan Bertaway. Good to see you, Alan. Crypto Butler says, best intro ever. Alex K says, love this intro. Naga rocks. Yeah, Naga's amazing. And when we first I forget how he got introduced into the HEX community in general, but I remember him being like, man, what's this HEX stuff? And then we, had a couple of streams with him, and he wasn't grasping the whole concept right away. So sometimes when the price was going down, he was making a couple of videos. And long story short, it's real cool to see people like Naga in the HEX community and be able to have people like him on the stream and educate them, right? Because at the end of the day, investing is something that is really an individual thing, and it's a very important thing that people understand what they're getting into, right? And so when the price was going down, Naga was still staked, and he was earning, the trustless interest daily while that was happening. And now he's way up on his investment. So happy to see Naga in the community as well. Mr. Contrarian 369 says, sup all Hexicans. Hello. Alan, a bit Hex. What's up, Hexicans? So good to see you, Alan. I know he just had a video recently too, where he moved from Acapulco to somewhere else in Mexico. I saw that video. I don't remember exactly where you were staying, but it looked pretty like a different experience, and it's cool that you're getting to see different parts of the country. So that's awesome here. let me just go over to Twitch real quick and just make sure that that I can see everyone in the chat fine real quick here. Just 1 second here. So yeah, happy Sunday, everyone. Right? While I do this real quick, the price from even last week when I was streaming is up significantly, right? And so we're gonna talk about that. I actually had work on Saturday, and that was maybe like a 5-hour shift, and it was really cool. I was kind of wearing this, and then had a little bit of work apparel too, right? But there was 2 different customers that had kind of asked me. Like one of them asked about the sweater itself. They're like, oh, that's pretty colorful. What is this hexagon thing? And then the other person asked about the you can see it right there. Actually the comments covering it. You can see the Hex Toys hat, right? And then so that was really cool to kind of explain to them that, oh yeah, it's a cryptocurrency. It's called HEX. You can go to hex.com. And then when I told them, I didn't really explain it to them a whole bunch, but when I told them, oh yeah, it was the top performing asset of 2020, I usually start off with that, right? And they're like, oh, okay. And oh, it's similar to that Bitcoin stuff that went up 6 million X and that we're always hearing in the news. So it's kind of cool for people to notice the apparel, to notice the logo. Hex has such a beautiful, amazing logo. Yesterday, actually, I did a video from my girlfriend's rooftop, and it was a lot sunnier than it is today, right? Today is nice and muggy in rainy Seattle, but did a video yesterday talking about how Richard was around when Bitcoin was developing its logo and saw the community from early on. And for someone like him that's had that experience to talk about Hex being in that same experience, if not better, I think that's really a really cool thing to hear. So let's say hi to the rest of the chat. We got a whole bunch of people in here. So Alan, good to see you, my friend. Hope Mexico's treating you well. And Children of the Grave says, we still jackpotting, bitch. Yeah, the cool thing about that is, what's his name? Joe Hexotic made that intro after one of Naga's videos. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I'm happy that he's letting me use his intro for part of my intro, right? Because it's concise, it's done to the point. It's great. Big Fudge says, I hope Hex crashes tomorrow. I'll make myself a whale. Yeah, I had to throw in, I didn't have to, but I chose to and wanted to throw in a little bit of kind of clickbait FUD / drama in the chat about the 1.5 billion stake, because I mean, in the reality, this isn't anything that we haven't seen before, and everyone always expects like the worst thing that can happen, and often sometimes it just doesn't work the way that people think it's going to. So I think either way, it's going to be an amazing day for stakers. I mean, say hypothetically, if that 1.5 billion doesn't restake, well, that's $1.5 billion worth of Hex, which is X amount of T shares that they wouldn't be restaking. That now the daily payout would be going to the other stakers, not them. So the person restakes, great. That's just going to lock up more supply. But I think either way, it's going to be good for the market. And happens to be on March 15th. I think that's around this time last year in April is really when we saw the big pump that we never came back from. But I really think we're starting to like consolidate into something similar, where kind of last year we had like a similar like coiling spring type deal, and then seems to be repeating itself from what I see. And we can look into all of that too. But good to see you, mate, from south of England. Hope you're doing well, Rob. Alex K says, one can dream. Hell yeah, And the cool thing about Hex is we can all bounce ideas off each other, right? Not all of us agree on anything, or not on anything. Not all of us agree on everything, right? So if one person thinks it's going to dump, one person thinks it's going to pump, or this or that, we can all kind of share our ideas. And at the end of the day, no one really knows until the thing happens. So it's all just speculative. So try not to spend too much time dwelling on it. Oh yeah, okay. Puerto Escondido. So yeah, seems cool, man. It's really cool to see your travel vlogs and videos. I know Ryan, that was just on my stream last week. He's got some travel stuff as well, and same thing with Silver the Antidote. It's cool to see, and I do kind of agree with some of the the sentiment that I've seen in the past, where it's cool to see that if you have other passions and hobbies that are outside of HEX, I mean, yeah, feel free to change up a video every now and then if you want to. I know blanking on his name right now, but this gentleman, he started doing like a cooking video the other day, and I thought that was pretty cool. So it's really cool to see people kind of just sharing their hobbies as well with people. And that's what I wanted yesterday's video at the rooftop to be, was just relaxing, a little bit different of a scene. And then also I wanted to appreciate Tech Dolphin and then Identity Block last week for letting me know my audio. I have this mic, right? And last week was the first time I had streamed since the move, but the audio was actually on the laptop audio. So it looks like right now in StreamYard that everything is set up for this audio. But I guess if everyone just wants to confirm that sounds good, that would be cool. And I appreciate everyone being patient, right? Someone even mentioned it the other day that with streaming, not always is it easy. And that's why I can really respect the hell out of someone like Hexologist that has been doing daily live streams for like a year and a half now. But even people like Big Pet the other day when they were streaming had a little bit of an audio thing, and it got fixed halfway through. So sounds awesome that we can all kind of like patiently allow the person to fix it and do better for the next stream. So happy to hear that feedback and appreciate all the patience there. Yeah, Alex K says that sweater is really eye-catching. Cryptyshop.com. So let me, cryptyshop.com. And yeah, Crypty actually messaged me the other day saying that she might crop out one of my photos or maybe one of my videos and use it on her website. So good for her if she does. She can totally do that. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the product itself is stellar. I mean, shit, this is like my lucky hoodie. And just because it's so colorful, it's representative of HEX. Similar to, I've heard Richard Hart talking about that when he's not streaming and stuff, he's usually just wearing like a black t-shirt, things like that, or just a HEX t-shirt. And, why not be comfortable and represent something that you love at the same time? So happy about that. Yeah, cryptyshop.com. You can get your own. And also thanks to the Korean for doing the giveaway, because you would stake, I think it's like 55,555 HEX for Quattro Cinco, and you could qualify. So the last I checked, there was like one or two people that were still left, and I happened to get one of them. So shout out to Kareem and Crypty for that one. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Crypto King, awesome. Thanks. Sounds great. Yeah, Crypto King's another guy in the community. I mean, we've got so many Hexicans in the community that bring their own value and have so many like specialties and things that they can kind of bring to the community. But Crypto King is definitely one of them. For people that don't know, he's had a lot of people come on to the Discourse Syndicate stream recently and kind of branch out from just the HEX centric videos on the Discourse Syndicate, right? Where they're kind of, getting into some of the other communities that could utilize things like HEX. So it's really awesome to do what Richard talks about, right? What works? Outbound messaging works. We've got a product, hex.com, that works so well, and it sells itself. It's almost too good, Bitfinesse says. HEX's biggest problem is that it is too good. And so the cool thing is about it is almost any person that I've come across in life and have had the opportunity to explain HEX to them, almost every person has kind of understood at least the concept of it. And say, even if they like wrote it off, I mean, as a week goes by, as a month goes by, things like that, they start to maybe they just don't care. But I've had a couple people kind of write it off at first, and then actually a couple of them I like gave them a little bit, gave them a wallet with a small amount of HEX staked and said, hey, you can just look at this. But it's really cool to see people coming around and realizing that, hey, this thing has 100% uptime. This is here to stay. Cryptocurrency itself is also here to stay. That was also one of the reasons that people that got into, or people that didn't get into crypto and Bitcoin early on, that was one of the reasons they didn't get into it. Some of them claimed is because they didn't think it was here to stay and that it was going to get regulated and shut down so quickly, and we didn't see that happen. So that was really cool. Oh, okay. Hey, that's awesome. I should check that out. Alex K says you are featured in the gallery at the Crypty shop. So yeah, I kind of want to see that now. Anyways, I'll check that out a little bit later, and shout out to her. Oh, cool, nice. Yeah, she's got me in the gallery. I can actually share the screen since I've got it pulled up here while I'm mid talk. So nice photo. I like it from one of the streams. And anyways, so yeah, that's me representing Crypty's product. So there's actually a whole bunch of other hexagons. I haven't been on her website a whole bunch towards this bottom of the page, but there's a whole bunch of hexagons that have worn her apparel, and let her take the screenshots of it for the website. So we got a whole bunch of faces that I recognize. Kareem, myself, just a whole bunch of people. Kinetics is there too. Maddie Allen. So that's really cool. You can definitely get it premium apparel, and she's got some other Hex shirts too that you can kind of see that are really cool. I mean, the color itself, like I said, I've never seen something that was so saturated in color. So shout out to her for finding someone that can manufacture it properly and do a really good job. So that's awesome. And the cool thing is too is, let me get back to StreamYard. The cool thing is too is things like this as well, right? This Hex lamp. I like to have items that have utility, right? But that also support people that are in the community. So that was really cool to get one of those as well. So yeah, Nas Hex, hey, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the bits. That's awesome. Cheered 100 bits, so hope you're doing well today. All right, yeah, we got a whole bunch of people in the chat. We're gonna cover some of the information too, right? Hex is like almost at a penny. It's up from last week, but I do want to just say hi to the rest of the chat, and then we'll kind of cover some of the rest of the information. So yeah, Alex, thank you for letting me know. I had no idea. Children of the Grave says, Far Out Aliens, the math has been done, should not be a big spike. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, the share rate itself, it does go up like continually, right? And so a whole bunch of people think it's going to be like a big payday type of spike and things like that. But we see that it's not really the case. I mean, it is it does go up constantly, but I doubt it's going to be like super drastic or anything. Piston Broke, hey, good to see you, my friend. And then also I mentioned a whole bunch of talented people, right? DJ Cryptomatic, he hence the name DJ. He does streams almost like every single day, and every time I see him, I try and host him at least, and maybe get another viewer. But he does DJing and makes music, so pretty cool to kind of watch your streams. And he's got some kind of Hex stuff, decorations going on in the background too, so that's pretty cool. And Alan, thank you, man. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the feedback. Right, I'd wish my friend Identity Block had messaged me, and he's like, Bran, on the last week's stream, like, Bran, you're on your laptop audio, but since when I'm doing my stream, I turn off my phone so it's not vibrating and making a whole bunch of noise. So happy that people were giving the feedback so soon. All right, what else we got? Yeah, Michael Hex, hey, good to see you. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing one more comment here. Oh, okay, yeah. Far Out Alien says, and by the way, good to see you, Far Out Aliens. But they say, what's up, BallietBran? So when this $1.5 billion stake ends, does that make the T share rate go higher? So here's the thing, right? Not only does the T share rate go up constantly, but it does also, like, it's like an algorithm, right? And what it does is pretty much its rate ratchets up to make sure that a person restaking doesn't get the same amount of shares or more shares. And it's supposed to mimic and analog the compounding interest over time. And that's really what we see is we see, even on GraphX.rocks, you see the big payday spike, and then you can see like these little bumps up. And we can go over this a little bit later too. But if anything, it's just going to be a small little bump up, and Hex it'll just continue chugging along. But I doubt it's gonna like be anything drastic like we saw during Big Payday. I mean, we've seen other stakes like this before end. So I just wanted to say I don't think it's gonna be like world ending, but it's fun to talk about because other people think it's a big deal. And like I said, I think it's a big deal if if they don't stake, they're pretty much diluting themselves with liquid HEX from inflation if they don't restake it. So if anything, that's always the things to cross your fingers of, because as you have those T shares, those long stakes and those big T shares, as more people that have big positions end their stakes and they end theirs before yours, you're pretty much just retaining your share rate the whole time. And if other big whales are like taking some of the APY and obviously earning some of the inflation, if they don't restake, then hey, that just goes to the rest of the participants. So especially now with like still under 10% participation rate of staking, we're getting an insane APY, an insane amount of interest on a daily basis per T-share. And that's really the beautiful thing of HEX. I mentioned on Saturday I had a couple of customers. It might have been a third one too, but I remember two distinctly that were asking about HEX and the logo and it's colorful. And then I actually had another coworker reach out to me because I've been at my job for about a little over 3 years now, and even in the interview, it was like 2017. And anyways, they asked me like, "Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" And I was kind of telling them about crypto and that it was a passion of mine, and they chuckled and kind of like, "Oh yeah, this kid plays with magical internet money, look at this kid." And then a few years later, everyone's wondering how the hell to buy Doge and stuff like that. It's like, no, you're doing it wrong. You guys are chasing the hype and the FOMO. You gotta look at the things that have solid use case and that are going to do well during bear markets. And that's actually where HEX has had its like top performance, right? I mentioned this before, but things like this I'll say again because I was there. But I mean, I remember $80 to $120 Ethereum and people thinking that Ethereum was going to go back to $2, $3. And so sometimes you have people also that, and I've done this before myself, and that's why I've learned, but you have some people that say, oh, HEX, I want HEX to hit this price target of 80% of a penny. And if it doesn't hit that, then I'm not going to buy. I'm looking for a value. And sometimes people have those like strict rules with themselves, and then the price doesn't do that, and then they kind of get left behind, or they just end up buying back significantly higher. So anytime you're like doing an investment, not only does it help to know what the hell you're investing in, and I think that's really important that people do, because a lot of people just claim to, oh yeah, do your own research, and then they don't. And so ideally, the things that you recommend should be, and the things that you talk about should have like sustaining value, and that's what HEX has. That's the reason that inspired me to start making videos and joining other people's streams only in HEX, right? You guys can see within the 9 months that I've made crypto content, it's not been on anything else besides pretty much just HEX and Ethereum, because those are really the only things that I can like put my reputation behind and actually think that are going to have sustainable value for the future. So that's the other thing too, is so many people think, oh, I should diversify this portfolio and have some of this and have some of that. And in reality, from my experience of even 2017, it's kind of diluting the gains as opposed to seeing, holy shnikes. I mean, HEX really is like the outlier. And it really is like that golden goose. And I mean, if you had a money printer, like Biff and Ness and Natty Allen during their stream, they're like, man, if you had a money printer, how many would you want? And they're kind of equating T-shares to like money printers, but it really is something that's such a unique concept and is so worthy of a Nobel Prize for Richard Hart. We saw Jane King and Richard Hart, and then some lawyer guy on DC, but we saw HEX bridging into the traditional finance market and the streams, and they even said it in the stream or in the video that Richard uploaded, like the 35-minute video, that that this was going to be one of many, ideally, because Richard is so knowledgeable and has a plethora of not only experience but information as well. I mean, how many people? The other thing I'll say real quick before I get into the rest of the comments is the other people at my work, when I was telling them about it, I was like, yeah, this guy, he developed something better than Bitcoin and retired when he was 23 from marketing and this and that and successful businesses. And they're like, holy shnikes, like retired at 23. How many people do you know that can say that? And it was really cool to see Richard not only like participating in crypto and stuff like that, like publicly in 2017, but then realize, oh, if Satoshi did it and it's had all these flaws and critical vulnerabilities, well, I can do something better, and I can create something that is possibly going to be the like the world's greatest store of value and like global reserve currency. So anyways, enough of that rant for a second. Let's say hi to the chat. So Toby, hey, good to see you, man. He was on Discourse Syndicate actually with there was a whole bunch of people there, but I joined RG3 for Discourse Syndicate this most recent Friday, just a couple of days ago. So thanks again for always hosting that show. Right, it's something that I love and I look forward to. It's really cool to see the consistency. Right, every Friday they do the effing hangout, and that's where I first kind of got my foot in the door. Was seeing that Hexo and RG3 were doing Discourse Syndicate and effing hangout, and like, oh, I want to join and say what's up to my people and the people that share in common. And the cool thing is about Discourse Syndicate is it allows people to introduce themselves, tell their stories. We got people like Nerd Girl, I think on Saturdays doing like a bridging communities thing. So really cool to see where we're going in Hex in general. Because like I mentioned, it's such a good product that now it needs to get in the hands of other people, things like StakerApp, but also the actual information itself needs to get in front of people, because if they're just in other stuff, then that doesn't give them the opportunity to be in Hex. So let's see what else we got in the chat. Okay, yeah, we got. So yeah, Toby, thanks for the cheer. Crypto DJ Cryptomatic, you're welcome. Let me read Toby's comment. So let me just zoom this in a smidge. He says, gifting Hex via the Staker app has been very effective at onboarding. Giving out over $1,000 in Hex, but over $10,000 is now flowing into Hex from these no-coiners. I will be unlikely to recoup my gifts from the Staker app referral bonuses, but the rising tide raises all boats. So indirectly, this is a win-win, not to mention the good karma. Yeah, totally, Toby. I couldn't agree more, right? I actually didn't even know. I don't remember when the actual Uniswap airdrop was, but I think Maddie and someone else were saying that it was like, I mean, obviously it was 2020, but that it was like August or sometime in the summer. But the point is that when the actual Uniswap airdrop happened, I'd been so blessed from just early T-shares and early Hex gains that when I heard about this free money and then had a few wallets that were able to claim, it's like, okay, well, I don't just want all of this for me. And so I used that opportunity to make like early Christmas presents, which their stakes are still going. But yeah, I was able to use that opportunity to pretty much just create wallets for my friends and my loved ones and my family, and then also give them the opportunity to experience Hex, because it's really cool that with crypto, especially in Hex, like there seems to be so much abundance that some of us, including myself, have already had, that we do have that opportunity to be able to give back. So I agree, man. It is kind of like a rising tides raises all ships. I mean, Motley's mentioned it before, and there's a lot of people in the community that have done their own advertisements, have created their own labels, have done things that would come out of their pockets directly, and they spent a certain amount of money, but at the end of the day, it's because they wanted to, and they also wanted to spread the information and news. And for my family members, the $100 of HEX that I've given them, it's turned into significantly more than that. And not only just from the price appreciation, but then the actual interest that they're earning. And it's really cool that even for the people that you love, right, and maybe they don't understand it, maybe they don't want to get into it, but even if they can have a small amount, like a couple $100, and you got the longer pays better, even that amount in 10, 15 years, anywhere from like 1 to 15 years can be significantly more than what you put in, and can be very life-changing. So it's really cool that HEX does have that opportunity. Hey, Franklin. Yeah. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Says, sup, player. Playa. Good to see you, my friend. Franklin and Hexarico. So hope you're doing well. Yeah. Magic Internet Money. It's so true. I mean, there were so many people, and I can't speak from experience. I mean, I've only been in since 2017, but yeah, there's so many naysayers. Even like Peter Schiff is a great example. Richard alludes him to like the old man yells at Bitcoin meme from The Simpsons. But anyways, someone like Peter Schiff, major gold bug, right? And then would just constantly be not only just bearish, but like almost like irrational towards Bitcoin. Ever since I've known about him since like 2017. And he's always kind of been like the guy that you just point and laugh at because Bitcoin always just continues to outperform. But I'm seeing a lot more of a consensus from the media, from traditional influencers and traditional finance, that they're also validating, hey, crypto's here to stay. And it's almost like talking about like things that are controversial, like people like Peter Schiff, they're losing their ass in gold. And Peter Schiff is an investment advisor and blah blah blah, and has owned his gold for X amount of his gold company too for X amount of decades, but his son outperformed him by just buying and holding Bitcoin. And then also people like Peter Schiff talking about Bitcoin is also popular for him because it's what people want to hear about, right? People, it's just like what Big Pep talks about, that like no one wants to be first, but everyone wants to be next. That's kind of how this is. And the people that do their own research and that find these products like HEX, they're going to do very well when they realize what that opportunity is. So Daniel Polk says, hi, fellow Hexicans. Hey, good to see you, Daniel. Thank you for participating. Everyone in chat, good to see everyone. Toby1 Hexobi says, and that's only from 2. Let me read this again. And that's only from 2 of the 20. So who knows what else will flow in? And how many will those? Oh, okay. Yeah. How many will those 20 onboard with their own links? This is key. Exactly. I mean, I've been on some streams with like Gary Funding Jim and even Matty Allen where they talk about like degrees of separation. And it's like, oh, they used to always say this in marketing too, but like, okay, you've got your friend circle and then your coworkers and things like this, but then, maybe a couple people, right? You got a couple of friends, and then, yeah, it is the network effect. But then, then how many people do they know, and what's their territory look like? So if you've got things this is why scams and Ponzi schemes and whatnot have gained so much awareness and so much bad reputation for used car salesmen or Ponzi schemes and stuff like this. Why that message spreads so quickly? Because I mean, once it gets that scam label and once people have been burned, then they tell all their friends. So it's just the opposite with things like HEX that, I mean, just like Bitcoin back in the day, but way better of an opportunity. It's just like when they hear that, my coworker, he said, Bran, how's the HEX thing doing? I mean, his stocks were getting hit, and I was just telling him man, HEX is so decorrelated from not only crypto, but from the traditional markets too. So it's really cool to see, as Toby mentions, that it's a sacrifice for him, right? It's something that he could have put that money towards something else, but he chose to kind of spread the word of HEX, I guess, show HEX to people and let them use it. And so for the people that I onboard, I'll either have them create their own MetaMask, or for the people specifically, I just created it for them and gave them a copy of the the seed phrase, the 12 word seed phrase on a piece of paper, and I just kept the other copy because that way, if they lose it, they don't lose the access to all their money. Because I almost had my brother lose his copy, and he's like, "Oh, that piece of paper, I was supposed to keep that," and he almost recycled it. So don't lose your seed words. And then Richard talked about it before too. When you're giving it away, you should have multiple sources of security, because in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, when that stake matures, they're gonna want to realize that. So how bad would that suck? I mean, it's gonna happen in HEX. It already has happened in HEX, but it happened to people in Bitcoin back in the day, where Bitcoin was fractions of a penny, and people had them on their hard drives, their encrypted hard drives, and oh, I forgot the password to my encrypted hard drive, and I locked it to where if these are just examples, but I've heard these stories where like this one guy had a hard drive that maybe had failure or had a password protector, like I said, and it would like self-destruct after like 5 guesses, and they've already gone through 3 of the guesses, and now they've got 2, and it's like, man, how shitty would that be? So when it comes to things like HEX and crypto, at the end of the day, it's the private key and the seed phrase itself that is the key and is the access. So people like RG3, people like Hexologists, they've talked about ways that you can store it securely. I mean, you could engrave the words on like angle iron, like some steel. You could do like the Schmear secret sharing thing, where you take the 24-word seed phrase or the 12-word seed phrase that, say, MetaMask would do, and you divide it up into, say, three-word chunk segments, and then you separate that out between 4 different locations or 8 different locations, and because security is definitely key. So let's say what's up to the rest of the chat. We got like 53 people in here, so hello to everybody. Yeah, AJ creates. Good to see you, my friend. And then, yeah, the last point I wanted to make was to Toby that for the friends that I've onboarded, the brothers, the girlfriends, the parents, things like that, I show them Staker app, so they download Staker app, and then I say, hey, this is the address that I've set up for you that has the stake. So they plug it in, and then, oh, blam, now that $100 is worth $300, or it's worth X amount of dollars. But they can, in the Staker app, they can see, oh, this is the amount of interest that I've earned. This is the T-shares that I have. And then they can also see the global stats. Oh, this is what other people are doing. Oh, HEX has a average staking length of 5 years and a weighted average of over $500 million locked for that amount. Things like that are really what can make HEX widespread and can have the real world adoption of things like cryptocurrency. Because Bitcoin tried it, and guess what? It's 11.5 years later, and it's not succeeded. So, to really get a wallet in everyone's hands and to really get something to have such an adoption, I think HEX could be that one. So that's why it's really cool to see that in the UK, HEX has those like London taxi cabs and the buses, and also the community itself, right? The grassroots movement of the community, and everyone kind of telling their friends and showing their friends their gains too. So many people, they don't see it, they won't believe it until they see it. And you can show them, like I said, on the Staker app, and if you've taken profits and whatnot, you can show them via that route as well. Hornet UK, hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, and then Toby also. So first off, it was great to see you on Discourse Syndicate, and then also for everyone that's not aware, be following Toby 1 Hexobi. He's right there on Twitch, because he might be. I think he said he's going to be starting up some streams, hopefully sometime soon in the future. And I saw his new background that he was talking about in the actual Discourse Syndicate stream. So. Props to you on the background. It looks great, and can't wait to see some streams sometime in the future. And if you ever want to come on, man, or any other Hexicans want to come on, just message me here or on t.me/BallietBran, and we'll have you on. Now that I'm like moved and got that out of the way, I can focus back on the channel again and get some streams that I've wanted to do for a while. So myself and Crypty hopefully are going to be doing one sometime, maybe like within the next month, kind of about like Generation Z, millennial. Like I'm a millennial, but she's a Gen Z. But how can the younger generation and pretty much any person, how can they protect their wealth from dwindling and from just getting inflated away from government executive orders or just the Fed money printer going burr, and things like HEX really are ways to kind of hedge yourself against that. Some people in Bitcoin were always like, code is law, right? And HEX code is law too. I mean, it's all publicly verifiable. It's been audited, and the cool thing is too is not only do we talk the talk, right? But we also walk the walk. So with Bitcoin, it doesn't have the interesting things like staking, right? In HEX, we can actually prove what we're saying by showing a 5-year average stake length. And so it's really cool that we've got those metrics that we'll look at in just a few minutes that are so appealing, right? So many people see that and they're like, oh, okay, this is actually legit. It's not something that just started a week ago. It's actually a financial product, and it actually is complete. And why is it not promising me things? Oh, I don't know, maybe because it's not a security. Oh, I don't know, maybe because it's already complete. So if it is promising, if you are getting into crypto and you're hearing about things that are promising you things and promising future development and things like that, then you should probably be running the hell away, because not only was that what 2017 crypto initial coin offerings were, but that's also things that fail the Howey test in the United States that can get your ass, screwed over by the securities department. So probably shouldn't be investing in things that are securities. And I've even had people that reached out to me, right, that were like, yeah, I want to hear about this HEX thing. I'm already in crypto, and I got into XRP and this and that. And it's like, man, like I hope with this one you actually do your own research, because if you actually do and you see what kind of value it has, well, hey, maybe you can make up for some of those losses you had in the other crypto. So when checking the HEX price, which listing do you guys use? I use Nomics. Yeah, we can look at that right now, because today's just a ranting day for me. So let's get into some other things. Let's go to Nomics while I maintain this audience. Let's see. Nomics.com is what I use. So this is it. Just scroll down. So yeah, Bitcoin hit 60,000. Great. Congrats, Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to go high. I want Ethereum to go high. I want HEX to go high. So the rising tide does lift all the ships. So good to see BTC and ETH doing its thing. All right, and scroll down a smidge. HEX is at number 20. Get rid of that. Yeah, so this is just Nomics. This is what I use. It's got some statistics about the coin itself, right? It talks about certificate of deposit to make the system work. It's got some information. So that's what I use. It's actually cool too that they do link the social media. So yeah, and they got the Telegram too. So yeah, Nomics is great. Nomics is great. It's cool to see people like using things like Nomics and using things that actually work, right? Because some of these coin ranking and coin metric sites, they claim to be honest and not biased and actually measure the data as the data should be, yet they gatekeep things like HEX and even other projects too. So it's disgusting to see in cryptocurrency how many middlemen there are and how many people and entities and corporations are profiteering off of the space and the innovation and the new viewers. So things like OG Hexicans or just people that have been in the space for a while, the best thing that you can do if you've got friends that are asking or coworkers that are asking is just try and provide them some education and correct them when they're misinformed. Nomics is cool, but it doesn't have a dark mode. I'm not too sure. Oh yeah. This is Odeli _1. This is super important. So they say get your operational security. Same thing. Get your OPSEC and security tip top right now, and you don't worry about it later when the price is higher. Exactly. Let's see. Firebun, he had a stream maybe a couple of months ago with Gary Funding Gym or Gifting You HEX, and he was talking about with HEX that, oh, maybe you put in $100 or $1,000, and then that number multiplies by 100 or even 10, and it is important to, just like a building, right? You start with the foundation, you start with the floor, the first level. You want to have that thing solid before you start building the second layer. So I guess Nomics does have a blackout mode, dark out mode. But anyway, so yeah, as far as your security goes, you should be taking it seriously. Don't be taking screenshots of your private keys or your seed phrases, things like that, because you think you're going to forget it. Things like that could easily get swooped if someone stole your phone or if you had your data leaked. So when it comes to the actual security and operational security of things like the 12-word seed phrase and of your stakes and whatnot, you do want to be smart with it, because how unfortunate would it be to say now you have $100 million of wealth that you thought you had, and then you go to try and claim it 10 or 15 years down the road, and this one word on this piece of paper, I can't really read it. What does that say? And hey, maybe you didn't do it right the first time, and maybe now you can't claim your money. So don't be that guy that's trying to. One guy literally, he had his money on a hard drive, and then the hard drive made it to like the landfill, and now he's like to the landfill. He's like, I'll pay you guys with my crypto findings if I find this hard drive, and it's going to cost like $20 million to like go through the whole landfill. So don't be that guy, right? That's doing that. Have your security done ahead of time. Believing is seeing. Yes, it is true. Believing is seeing. El Hexidente, what's up, guys? Good to see you. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get into some of the other important information now that we're almost like an hour into it. Let's do Uniswap.hex.vision. Let's see what the price is doing, right? Because like I said, it's up from the last time we streamed. So yeah. I mean, yeah, the last time we streamed like just a week ago, we're up significantly from then. I mean, March 7th, we're up even like 13% from then, and you can see we've already wicked over a penny most recently. But one of the people that recently just got into Hex and happy to hear another Hexican, I'm actually surprised he didn't even need my help. Right? He did it all by himself and did his own research, but he was also kind of looking for like that value buy, and I messaged him saying like, hey man, not sure how much lower Hex is going to go in this range, because we were like right here, kind of just chopping and stagnating and staying sideways, and long story short, he ended up pulling the trigger and just getting some stakes in, and that's the other thing too is, I wasn't sharing the screen. So that's the other thing too, right? Is when you're chopping sideways and things like this, some people they might want to be like waiting to get a good deal and things like that, but you're actually missing out on the Hex per T-share that's distributed daily. So even if you're waiting like a couple of weeks for trying to get a better price range, well, not only are you going to, at a guaranteed minimum, be paying a higher T-share rate, the amount of Hex per T-share, but you also can't guarantee that the value in dollar price is going to go down. So that's something that's really cool to see. If we just type in Hex and go back to, That's Hex Ethereum, which this one looks really damn good too. I mean, this is the Hex to Ethereum chart just on version 1, and you can just see how low it is on the chart. Like it's probably going to be in time for a reversal anytime, almost any time. But if we look at the actual historical price on the Uniswap version 1, you can see that back in April, like I was saying, so in March, we had something similar where if we zoom in a smidge, we kind of had some sideways chop action, right, in March. And that's where this is, right? A couple days of lull and stuff like this, and then, a wick down almost to the 15th, and then upwards from there. And then the April pump right around kind of when Cream was getting into Hex and whatnot was really where it never went back. I mean, we've never gone back to when I zoom out, we've never gone back to test any of these, these lows down here. So Hex, when it moves, it really, really moves. And it's cool to be in now while you're early. People like Hex Fabio, Johnny Chaos, CCFX Studios, they mentioned that, hey, I mean, if you think Hex has the opportunity of going to $1 or $100 or whatever, then why are you squabbling over, tenths of a penny if in a year from now it could be worth, hundreds of times of what it is right now. So when you really zoom out and you look at the perspective, Hex is great for just that reason, right? It's good for locking and earning an interest. But if you want to look at the day-to-day and just hold it, you can do that as well. You don't have to actually lock it. So some people are under the impression that, like, yeah, it works by only locking, and that's definitely not the case. I mean, you can hold it in your wallet liquid just like you could with Bitcoin, except it does a lot more than just that as well. T-Share looks like they have begun reversal to the upside. Yeah, go to hex.com's got a great chart that we can look at too. And then, I was going to go until Hexologist goes, but he had some stuff going on today, so he actually did his stream a little bit earlier. But if I end up going for the full 2 hours, I'll be going until Kibana goes live. So he said he was going to go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is an hour and 8 minutes from now. So just so you guys know, I'll be done by then, but we've got another stream today. So that'll be Kibana's actually second stream in one day. So he had a stream earlier this morning with Silver, and then he's going to have I forget who all's on, but he's going to have another one this evening. So stay tuned for that, right? We got Hex content all day, and for the people that are inundated and the content's getting overwhelming, I understand. The same thing happens with me too, right? There's only so many hours in a day, but at the end of the day, if you miss an episode or don't catch up with all of it, that just means you're only human. So just pick the channels that you want to watch, and things like Hex clips are great for that reason. That if someone doesn't have 20 hours to watch all of the content for that week, well, if we can have more people sending marketable thoughts or Hex clips, the timestamps to videos, then they can just make the little segment itself, and it goes by so much more easy for someone that's learning to see a few minute snippet than it is for them to watch 20 hours and not really know what they're consuming, because it's so much information. Let's go over to the Hex price, the T-shirt price. 1 second here. Just got to unlock the MetaMask here. All right, just a second, y'all. Don't want to show one of the main addresses. Just going to show the data. So let me stop the screen share. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is the T-share daily close price in US dollars. And okay, that's where we'll cut it off. But yeah, this is what Michael.hex is talking about. So man, back in the day, you can see T-shares were as cheap as like 60 cents, and how far have we come since then? But now, most recently was like 171 there, and we're looking good on this chart, right? The cool thing about HEX is similar to like Amazon, right? Amazon's been around for however many decades, and its chart looks like this too, just over a longer period of time. But HEX really does mimic that up and to the right. So the geometric growth upwards, and it's cool that on the measurements, like the comparisons we have right here, it's cool to see a lot of the HEX charts going up and to the right like this. So just goes to show that you can program money. And here we got the daily payout per T-share too. But yeah, you can program money, and HEX is programmed money. So really cool to see that. Oh yeah, Toby, I'll check it out. Let's let me pop over to Twitch real quick, and then okay, yeah, we'll check this out. Let's see here. All right. Okay, let's scooch. All right. So yeah, this is Toby's chart that he's talking about. Let's scooch this down a smidge. All right. So yeah, this is kind of what he's projecting. 3.5 pennies right here, 2 pennies right here. Kind of just showing like these bull flags, right? HEX is notorious for having these pretty nice, long, drawn out bull flags, and we can kind of see it here in the charts too. When we go to the Uniswap.hex.vision, HEX has had several of them. So anyways, that's kind of some chart that Toby was sharing. So thanks for sharing that. Let's stop sharing that for a second. Let's go back to the chat real quick here. But yeah, let's read what he had to say. So the purple bars pattern is the run up into the NYE all-time high. We're following the same pattern, okay, with the confluence. Yeah. Hex is looking good, right? Hex is looking good. I like the purple chart. Yep. It's looking good. And then yeah, Hex Deck says if the price drops 25x, you can get more that way too. That's the other thing. So Wales Only talks about this a lot. I mean, he's been in since crypto for a very long time as well, and he's also got traditional market exposure and experience as well. But he talks about that he's never seen anything until Hex where people are excited for it to go down. And I talk about that too, where there's always like opposing opinions and whatnot, and is the glass half full or is it half empty, right? So some people, they see like, oh, what if this person just market dumps and cuts off their nose to spite their face? And it's like, yeah, what's the likelihood of that? But then the other person is like, well, that's an opportunity, right? What if I could scoop up that 20% of a penny post big payday Hex? Like, how much would you stock up then? So it's really cool to see that, and it's really cool to be in a position with Hex and with my stakes that, like, hey, if it goes up, great. If it goes down, great. I mean, either way, the accumulation that I'm doing is still steady. So that doesn't stop. Paint a bull flag, dump it. Okay. If you look at my technical analysis, you can see a measured move to the downside that would have us, testing the post big payday low of 20% of a penny. Only possible if the 1.5 billion dumps. Yeah, and that's the other thing too that is so great to be a staker and to be in this product is, hey, if someone wants to take their gains now, that's totally fine. That's not going to be me right now. And if someone wants to do that and they don't want to restake, then guess what? They're going to be, but by them burning their T-shares and by them not restaking at a higher T-share rate, well, that's just going to mean that the amount of t-shirts that I have is going to be worth more. Or the person that wants to get in next is going to have to pay a higher t-shirt rate. So let's see what else I got for you. Can't believe I'm just getting to it now, but Richard did have a couple of pretty cool tweets lately that I want to share real quick here. But one of them is kind of just a casual tweet, right? So let's just make sure y'all can see. Okay, cool. All right, we're on Twitter. So this is 2 days ago. But these are like fun things to think about and to talk about, right? Because HEX is boring, right? It's such a good product, and it does it does what it is supposed to do. I should say it can be boring to those that are like just expecting it to dump or like completely pump within like the next minute. So sometimes you get people that end up getting bored. When in reality, it's like, dude, go live your life, or like go find a different hobby, or pick up something else. The cool thing about HEX is, it does allow you to free your time up, and you save yourself from yourself, because now you're not degenerately gambling, and you're not waking up at 3:15 in the morning like, oh my gosh, like let me see if my crypto is down, or if my long position got closed, things like that. You sit back in HEX and you look at your T-shares and you're like, okay, this is how much I got. And then you multiply that by the amount of T-shares you got paid out for that day. And it looks pretty good. But so anyways, Hexo talks about what's your first purchase going to be when you have like $10 million in your bank account. And Richard says a pillow. So it's pretty funny. I mean, shout out to Richard, first off, for not only all he does, but his production value and like stuff that he buys is always high quality. So they're talking about the Medusa pillow, and then Richard's showing off some of these other ones. So he's got two of them, but just wanted to show you guys that it's kind of funny. And then this was kind of funny too. How does it feel on the lower lumbar? So good old Richard. And actually, if you look at some of these comments, we got some pretty cool comments, right? So this is like the golden yacht meme, and that's Nutmeg Hash. And then thanks to Out of Context HEX, he photoshopped our friend Mr. Hash there. So cool to see that. Johnny Chaos had one that he was talking. I think it was him. Oh yeah, yep. He says, I would never trust my bank with $10 million. Trick question. So I'm kind of with you on that one too, Johnny. I mean, if I had $10 million in the bank, you bet your bottom that I'd be having a lot more in assets if that was the case. So I wanted to cover that tweet. Let's see. There's a couple other things I want to cover too. So let me stop the screen share and go back into the next tab that I have real quick here. Okay. All right. So I like doing this. I like doing the stream weekly too, because it's just enough that can go on within a week where I've got plenty to talk about, and this is one of them. So Richard said yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago, March 12th, says, and let me just make sure it's showing on StreamYard. Cool. Says developers, no Solidity and Rust or Go. I want to hire you. T.me/Richard Hart or email dev@hex.com. Work when you like, remote only, great pay, improving go.hex.com, then forking Ethereum, then wrapped HEX shares on other blockchains in that order. So I think that's really cool to see that Richard's always got something up his sleeve, and it's cool to see things like Solidity being so buildable, right? You can build things on top of Solidity, and we've seen people with the DAO and all these other things. We've seen people program smart contracts improperly and not spend the proper amount of time to see what all the functions are doing. So it's cool that Richard he's constantly seeking the best and brightest, right? And we've got a lot of those that are in HEX already, but it's cool to see that, hey, we might have more great things to come in HEX. So I think that's really cool. It kind of goes to show you where Richard's thinking, forward thinking, and I think it could solve, theoretically and hypothetically, could solve a lot of the gas problems that people are having. And even as far as like scaling goes, it's not like that's even a problem really, in my opinion. But as far as scaling and hundreds of millions of people go, things like that, what we just covered, definitely would allow for that scaling solution. So HEX is just so poised. It's really like when Bitcoin first got started, right? The banks were getting bailed out, and you've got so many people that saw their retirement accounts go from a high value to a low value, all in a very short time. And Bitcoin was there in like I think 2008, and that was a great opportunity then. And HEX is a great opportunity now, and especially with things like helicopter money just being printed into oblivion. It seems it's more important now than ever to be having these conversations and these thoughts and these just these thoughts about your investments, about your portfolio, about your future. Like I said, a lot of people they don't realize what they had until it's gone. And with things like their money in the bank, they look at, say they've got $100,000 in the bank just sitting there. Well, they just see the $100,000, but and they're just looking at it from that metric. But in reality, the metrics that they're not looking at that are more important are these bills passing and these dollars being printed more that are devaluing that $100,000. So now that $100,000 of buy pressure or economic energy, now it becomes worth less because more money being introduced to the supply. HEX Kai, yeah, that is awesome stuff. It totally is. I mean, like I said, Richard always has something up his sleeves, and it was really cool to see. I think it was like on Big Payday itself, but we saw the APY in the go.hex.com and a whole bunch of things in the user interface kind of look a little bit better. So it's cool to see that. Okay, Shirley Fortress says Richard Hart already made a few billion with the Ethereum from the AA. I think he will leave the origin address liquid or staked. I mean, yeah, whoever the entity is of the origin address and things like that. The cool thing about HEX is, and why market cap is such a vanity metric, is all it takes is something like this $1.5 billion HEX stake to be liquid, and realize that amount of HEX for the market cap itself to go up, right? Because you got price times supply, and with things like HEX, we can really see we can really see the market cap just rip the charts off, right? Like HEX has already done, but especially for other vanity metrics like that. I think Richard's kind of mentioned it before that HEX could hit such a high market cap that now people are like wondering, oh, maybe market cap isn't the best criteria to measure upon. So I thought that was pretty cool when I heard him say that. Piston Broke 5,555 says, to set a limit order for HEX, say at 0.004, which exchange is the most useful? Matcha.xyz. Let me just confirm it's Matcha.xyz. 1 second here. Yeah, Matcha.xyz. You can do limit orders, and I think you need wrapped ETH WETH, but yeah, just check it out. Richard's talked about it. It's pretty good. Yay, Hex Toshi. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see, Hexdex. If he is not keeping it liquid. Yeah, so I mean, to answer your question, the cool thing about HEX is there are so many components of it, right? There's the component of the game theory itself and how it's been developed already. And then there's what happens right now. There's what happens a year from now, things like that, that no one really knows the individual decisions of each person. But all it takes is something like this $1.5 billion HEX to, all it takes is something like that to not restake, to now start rewarding everyone that is staked, and to make the market cap go up significantly higher because it's just more supply. So there's a number of things that could happen, but okay. James LaRock says, gun to head, if you had to make a guess on the price of HEX in 10 years, what do you say it is? I mean, at least 1,000. Let's see here. Gun to head. What's the price of HEX in 10 years? Let's see. It's 2021. So in 2031, what do I think the price of HEX could be? March 14, 2031. I mean, now I'm thinking like 1,000 might be a little bit too low. I'd say higher than 10,000. Higher than 10,000. Yeah. Well, and that's just the thing is HEX really is a black hole for economic mass and economic energy. And I think we're going to see that as, totally could be zero. Hey, exactly. Never have claimed that any of this is, advice or things like that. Obviously, all of us are just speculating at the end of the day. But I'll tell you what, I watched the HEX 2020. Yeah, dude, big numbers. Yeah, dude. Like I said, it is like a black hole. But anyway, so I watched the HEX 2020 rewind like almost every single day. It's something that I was watching before the stream. Anyways, David Feeder was talking about it, that when he first got in, and I've been around as long as him, and a lot of us, even Hexo, were like a penny was kind of like that target. And then now that we've already hit 2 pennies, it's like, well, what's the next target, and how soon are we going to smash that? Like the way that crypto can be the highest appreciating asset class, and the way that HEX was the top performing asset of 2020, really can melt your mind on the not only the gains and percentage of growth that it can have, but also the cost per token once you add so much economic energy into it. So because right now, I mean, so many people, they've got the same stock that was rehypothecated, that was done so in like a fractional reserve system type way, where like, oh yeah, now it's, everyone's not getting those stock certificates anymore, and they're not getting that physical tangibility. They're just getting same thing with their bank account, like just digits on a screen. And just like with anything, if someone were to pull out like everything at once, obviously all the systems would go down. But I think what we're going to see is a lot of big money. We've already seen big money, but we're going to continue seeing money going into safe havens. And that's what things like HEX are. And not only is it a safe haven and a hedge against inflation and things like this, but it's one of the best places and one of the most secure places that you could put your wealth. I mean, when Bitcoin did its 6 million X within 11 years, if you had $1 and held on to it, sat there with your thumb up your ass for 11 years, hey, now it's worth $6 million. Just imagine if you have that same opportunity again. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just me kind of speculating. And yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too, is I think HEX is just getting started. I mean, Richard talks about it. Like, our numbers are so petty. They really are petty in the grand scheme of things. When you look at, want to make sure the hack gets in. When you look at things like Richard talked about, like these games that people play on their phones, like Clash of Clans and whatever games people are playing nowadays, some of the users it has is like 100 million daily users, things like that. Like, how many daily users does Bitcoin have, or Bitcoin wallets? How many transactions? There's so much if crypto is still going to be here in 10 years and is going to be, used more than what it is being used now, then there's got to be a lot more people coming in and got to be a lot more wealth coming into it to actually make it a serious investment. And so that's kind of part of my speculation and, guessing is that within the next 10 years, we're gonna see some of the assets that the people thought were gonna continue holding value or they thought would go up forever. Hey, maybe they don't go up forever. Maybe people shift their economic wealth into things that can earn them an interest and be kind of stable too. So yeah, Hornet UK. I mean, hey, dude, I'm so cool with this as well. I mean, shit. The cool thing about that person's question about like, oh, where do you see HEX being in 10 years? Even if nothing else, I mean, HEX right now is at 95% of a penny. Even if HEX stays at 95% of a penny for the next 10 years, even if it does that, I'm totally okay with that. And that's the cool thing is, hey, when you look at the actual interest that you're earning, plus the HEX that you have and the T-shirts that you have that are gaining value, it adds up quick. So Ray Dawn says, yeah, it's so true. Me and my friends also hoped for a penny. Yeah. But when HEX did that, it just looked normal. Exactly. And it's really cool to see that in HEX, I mean, similar to Bitcoin, right? There's a lot of people that are, diehard Bitcoiners and people like Trace that are, hodlers on last resort and whatnot. But the reason that HEX does go up and down is, when it's going up, you got more buyers than sellers. When it's going down, you got more sellers than buyers. It's really cool to see people like David Feeder in his HEX testimonial video. With $750, he paid off his student loan debt that was burdening him for how many years. And it's really cool to see that as HEX just continues to do its thing throughout the years, we're going to see more people not only treating themselves, but paying off those debts, paying off those mortgages or those bills or those burdens that are financially, putting a shackle on them. And we're gonna see a lot of lives, still being changed throughout HEX's future. And Richard talks about it a lot, right? HEX has already minted a lot of millionaires, and it's already made a lot of millionaires. Richard talks about it where I don't even know who it is, but whoever it is, it sounds awesome. Where one of the viewers in HEX, in the Hexicans, they put X amount in, they took all the cash out, and they ended up getting, I think he said it was a Aventador, like a maxed out Lamborghini Aventador, and Richard was like, hey, you send me a video with that, why don't you slap a HEX sticker on it too, to really show your appreciation. But it's cool to see that as the price goes up and down, and hey, maybe after 100x, maybe that's your price point where, hey, now you let the rest of the meat on the bone for the other people. Maybe that's where you're happy is 100x. Everyone has their own figures and their own prices that they're comfortable with. But it's cool to see that, hey, not everyone is doing that at the same time. Kareem kind of talks about it and Richard talks about it too, where Richard bought the $30 top with the Medium article, and then that shit went down to a penny, and he helped make the top. Kareem talks about the same thing. Well, the cool thing is hey, not everyone sold at Bitcoin at a penny, and so that's cool that HEX always leaves meat on the bone. So let's see. Jesus R says HEX long term goes up as T-shares become expensive and HEX burns. Yeah, the cool thing that people really aren't understanding, even still, about the T-shares is really how rare they are and how scarce they are. I mean, a lot of us saw T-shares, before big payday, it was like less than 10,000 HEX per T-share, and then you see the big payday spike to like, oh, now it's whatever it was, like 1.5 times, like it was like 15,000 HEX per T-share, and that number itself never goes down. So you got some people that are waiting on the sidelines, just looking for their number, but they don't realize they're going to be paying a higher T-share rate even at the worst case scenario. So another thing I want to comment, I got maybe 40 more minutes at most. I don't know if I'm going to take the whole time, but I want to cover something that I thought was actually pretty interesting, and I think it's really relevant to the next point I want to make. So let me stop sharing the screen for that comment specifically. Let me do something real quick here. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, Hayden Adams, he's the founder of Uniswap. Uniswap is great. ETHEX.com is great too. But yeah, similar to HEX. Richard Hart and Nicholas Merton, the guy at Data Dash. Richard Hart asked him, he said, aside from Uniswap and HEX, do you know anything that doesn't have any admin keys or oracles in the DeFi space and in the crypto space? And his answer was no. But yeah, HEX did help make Uniswap popular, and Uniswap is great. But I came across this comment the other day because I follow Hayden, and I turned on his notifications. And anyways, I thought it was, I'm following him on BallietBran, but thought it was interesting. So he says, okay, so he's replying to someone, and they say, as a crypto user / investor, how long until you are bored with the project and looking for the next one? And it's similar to what people sometimes might feel about HEX, right? Like, oh, why doesn't Richard Hart just do HEX 2? Or, when can Richard Hart do another project so I can get in on the ground floor? And things like this. And so his response is similar to what I've heard from Richard. So this is why I'm bringing it up. But Hayden says, so he's been working so far, 3 years so far in Uniswap. And then he also says, I'm not looking for the next one, right? He's got Uniswap that's already doing very well. He doesn't need to try and reinvent the wheel again and possibly compete with his own product. So he says, not even slightly bored. So I think that's really cool, and it kind of goes to show you that with what was it? It was Richard and the Australian guy the other day that were talking about that, where Richard said, yeah, you want HEX 2? Okay, we got it. It's called HEX. HEX 3, you got it. Okay, it's called HEX. So things like HEX really are they're here to stay, right? And Richard wants to see this become successful, not a second version or things like that. Like HEX already is so good, and Richard had already thought about all the things that could have happened before it got implemented. So now it's just the prodigy itself. And yeah, hey, Hodl Dog, let's do a stream sometime soon, man. He says, great stream again. You're becoming the HEX Jesus soon. All right, that's the first time I've heard that. But maybe with my hair, instead of getting a haircut, maybe I'll grow out those crypto coffee locks. Who knows? Let's see. Toby says, DJ Cryptomatic, exactly. And there are several other factors that make the downside unlikely, if not impossible. That's why the price has begun to creep up as people are becoming more sure of the positive outcome. Give me just a second while I get my water real quick. Cool. All right, thanks, y'all. Didn't have my water that whole time. So I agree with what Toby's talking about. And it's similar to the comment that I make earlier, where a lot of people, they want a certain price range. Like, oh, right now HEX is 95.6% of a penny. And, maybe someone wants, maybe they want 50% of a penny or 75% of a penny. And no one's a guru, right? No one's numbers, usually the likelihood that someone calls the top or the bottom is very unlikely. And so anyways, with things like HEX, to Toby One's point is that you have some people that maybe the past couple of months they've been sitting on the sidelines, and now they realize, oh, okay, maybe it isn't going to drop to where I thought it was going to, and maybe it is just consolidating instead of going up or down. So when you have that, which is what we have right now, In the past, it's tended to usually like springboard and coil up. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, like right here, you can see just on the daily, and sometimes Hexologist kind of talks about this, where especially when you're kind of doing a stream daily like that, sometimes it's just chopping sideways, and that's kind of like what we're having here, like around 70, about right here, like 70 something percent of a penny is where we've touched a lot just on this Uniswap version 2, and you can kind of just see like, okay, there's clearly like a certain price floor that it's not really going under, and then eventually you've got liftoff, which in my opinion, I mean, a lot of people are looking at tomorrow and whatnot, and I think the liftoff is going to be sooner than we think. Like I mentioned earlier, in 2020, it was around this time last year, 2020, when we did see the lead up to the April pump. And we never saw prices go back there again. So how cool would that be if history repeated itself? So yeah, Huddle Dog, yeah, your videos are great, man. The ASMR stuff is cool too. Everyone's got the Shure mic SM7B, and your setup's cool, man. I like how well your setup is. I think it's cool when people got the Huddle Dog has it where he's got like a camera here, and then he's got like multiple vantage points of the camera. But it's cool to see all the different things that you can do with OBS, and still want to upgrade my setup a little bit more. But people like Huddle Dog, they really got it going on. So check him out if y'all haven't already. Which I don't know how you couldn't have already, but if you somehow magically haven't tuned upon him, check him out. Duke RU says, Duke-a-roo, says, markets as a whole react to changing conditions. Agreed. The big $1.5 billion stake will set the tone for future big stakes. Agreed. Market will price it in from now on. I agree. The cool thing about HEX is not only is like crypto and blockchain, right? People think Bitcoin's anonymous, or it's like, yeah, right. It's actually the opposite of anonymous. But the cool thing about crypto is that for things like HEX, it is publicly verifiable. It is something that you can assure, and you can see. It's not just fake analytics, right? It's data that you can pull yourself and verify. And so when you've got this big $1.5 billion HEX stake, and you see liquidity tightening and stuff like this, what it's really doing is, setting a tone and a precedent. I mean, the person, even if they tried to this is like a worst case scenario for like the doomsdayers, like tried to market dump on Uniswap and whatnot. Not only would and say this is like if they're doing it in like one market sell, but if you're trying to market dump on Uniswap, first off, you only have so much liquidity. And secondly, you've also got slippage too. So people like this, I agree to Duke-a-roo's point, is that not only do we see HEX leading by example and stakers leading by example with 5-year average stakes, but you see a lot of the big money too. I mean, I remember like the first $1 million worth of HEX that was staked for 15 years and being like, holy shit, dude, like that's just so much wealth, and so cool to see so early that $1 million worth at that time got locked for 15.2 years. And then like a week later, it was like 7.5 million, or it was significantly more than the first. So I thought that was pretty cool. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, man, no problem, dude. Yeah, Craig Grant says, would be interesting if the $1.5 billion goes short term and restakes every 30 days. Yeah, that's another thing that I've seen too, Craig, is a lot of, I mean, we've got so many options and so many people with different time horizons, right? And in HEX, you can hold your HEX liquid, so you can buy it and sell it immediately, or you can stake it and stake it for 1 day all the way up to 15.2 years, 4 5 days. And yeah, to his point is I've seen you can follow like HEX Whalebot, but I've seen a lot of these like 1,000 T-share stakes and tens of thousand T-share stakes staking for like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and things like that as a whole do help ratchet up that share price, which is great. I mean, hey, I think that's really cool to see. Hey, Toby, good to see you, man. Oh, nice. Thanks for the cheer. Yeah, you know, Toby's a good guy. He says, I got to bounce. Good hanging out. Great stream as always, Bran. Thanks, dude. Hope to see you or hope to join you one soon. Yeah, dude, you can join anytime. Thanks for chatting on Friday night too. The Discord Syndicate FN Hangout was fun. So it's cool to see RG3 again, and it's been such a long time, right? Been getting busy on Friday nights with hanging out with the girlfriend and some friends, but looking forward to getting back into some Discord Syndicate streams. So that was awesome. Yeah, and to Craig's point actually up here, there is this HEX Whalebot that you guys can all check out. So let me just show you on Twitter because it's actually really cool to see. Let's see. I think if I just type in bot, okay, HEX Whalebot. All right, let's look at this real quick here. Okay, cool. All right, so Whale Hex at Whale Hex is this HEX Whale bot, and it's pretty cool. You got like a little comic book thing here, and Hex is just blowing the world out of bounds. But so I don't know what the actual minimum metric is, but it kind of tracks large stakes and buys and sells, things like this. So we see 719 T-shares just staked for 1,900 days. That's pretty cool. We see 880.9 T-shares get staked for 3,670 days. So that's about 10 years. That's that'll qualify for the longer pays better. So they're earning, if they would have staked that for say like a month instead of like 10 years, then they would have gotten a third of those T-shares. So the cool thing about HEX is, and the part of the way that it leaves meat on the bone is longer will always pay better, and bigger will always pay better too, only up to like 10% more shares. But cool thing about HEX is, hey, maybe you only have one, you only have like one T-share worth of HEX and of money. Well, hey, if you have a longer time horizon, that one T-share could now be tripled. It could be 3 T-shares if you stake for 36, 41 days. And then now your time horizon is going to be longer than other people's. And as theirs unstake and as you continue to earn interest every day, you're going to be doing a lot better than you were 10 years ago when you placed that stake. So HEX does delay gratification. And that's part of the reason that, not only does it incentivize people to stake long, but that's part of the reason that people choose different time frames is, some people have, 5 years until they want to retire, and they've got different time frames. So cool thing is we don't all sell at once. Unhexable. Sorry I'm late, brother. Hope I haven't missed too much. Yeah, you haven't missed too much. Just kind of chit-chatting. I was talking about Richard, his most recent video with Jane King. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, let me actually link y'all because that was some good stuff. 1 second here. So yeah, we're talking about Richard Hart and his most recent video with Jane King. Richard talking about getting Solidity developers and possibly clicking the fork button on Ethereum and just a whole bunch of other things real quick here. Let's see. Richard Hart, Jane King. Let me just link this for anyone that hasn't seen this yet. And the cool thing about this is not only is it like relatable to my parents and whatnot, but it was done so well where you can share it with your friends or people that might be in like traditional investments, and they can at least see like, oh yeah, I recognize Jane, and oh, I recognize stocks and this and that. So if you can kind of get them in for that, and tell them that it's going to be an informative video and stream, then you can see that they can probably learn a lot more as well from Richard. So get them in for the stocks, and then get them in for the Richard content. But yeah, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, and HEX price rising with Jane King and Richard Hart, and he uploaded it. So Richard does a 4K stream on his, so that's uploaded in 4K too. So that's awesome. Richard did a really good job with them, and it's concise. It's 29 minutes and 55 seconds, and also we got the timestamps too. So hey, maybe you don't have the 30 minutes right now, but you want to come over here to HEX security versus Bitcoin, and he talks about the two critical vulnerabilities that happened with Bitcoin, and hey, look, Bitcoin's still done 6 million X even with its critical vulnerabilities. Imagine how much HEX could do without those attack surfaces and those vectors that could happen to things like Bitcoin. So let's talk about that. Yeah, Nardo, hey, good to see you, my friend. Nardo is the auto body repair wizard. I swear, it's really cool to see his channel. Not only the little raccoon and whatnot, that thing is just the cutest thing ever, but your videos are cool to see, and it's cool to see someone like yourself. Kind of like I work with masons and landscapers all day, but it's cool to see people take something and then kind of work their artwork. So with things like auto body repair, that's definitely an artwork as well. Yeah, don't panic. Hey, good to see you. I like the name too, and I like the little Fallout logo. I've always liked that. Nardo, what's up, gang? Oh yeah, Don't Panic says, I'm disappointed. See, this is just what I was talking about. Whales only. He says, how many other cryptos are people like waiting or like excited for it to dip? HEX is one of them. But he says, I'm disappointed we didn't dip. I threw in some dry powder over the last few days, or over the last 2 days, saving the rest for tomorrow just in case. Yeah. And that's the cool thing that's the cool position to be in, is that you should kind of be preparing for both, right? You should be planning for both things to happen, whether it goes up or down. You should always kind of hedge your bets for what you think the worst scenario could be. So just like for Big Payday, personally, I thought we were going to pump as hell after Big Payday, but I was completely wrong, and that's okay. That's totally okay. I mean, my stakes have always been looking pretty good, but to the people that did hedge themselves and kept a little bit of powder dry, well, hey, now they got to buy on some cheap discount, right? Some cheap T-share. So it's really cool to see that. Hey, people are still accumulating. So that's really awesome. Yeah. One Heximofo. It's awesome to see Richard talking about the Solidity development and not only continuing the improvement of go.hex.com, but possibly the fork button. I think that's pretty eye-opening for a lot of the Hexicans, because it's things that Richard's talked about in the past, and who knows? We could see what happens in the future. But either way, I'm very confident with where HEX is going and whatever Richard does, that it'll be successful. I hope sooner than later we see Harry Dent jump into HEX. Yeah, that was a great video, and it was entertaining too, right? Harry was quite the bear, and he was talking about too, like I'm the last couple of the I'm the last one or two of the bears left, and that's why you should listen to me. And Richard was saying, like, no, that's actually a framing error. Like, that means that we shouldn't listen to you. So it's really cool to see that even for something like traditional stocks and whatnot that I'm not in per se, Richard can really educate and inform people on why they might be wrong. So should have kept half my uni. Yeah, there's always like the miscounted fortunes, right? I mean, same thing with me. Like, hey, when I saw Uniswap and had a couple wallets claim, great, sold for $3. Like, I'm not sad or mad at that at all. Like, but because it was free, right? It was free money. But but there always is like unlimited like almost like hindsight bias and hindsight remorse if you didn't sell. But I guess maybe you can learn from that in the future, that if you got something for free, maybe you don't want to sell all of it. Maybe you just sell half of it in case the rest of it appreciates. So that's all personal and speculative. And like I said, I've got coworkers that I got a coworker that didn't even spend anything, and I gave him like $20 worth of HEX, and I was like, hey, here, use some Ethereum to do this transaction on Uniswap. And then anyways, he gets the $1,500. I tell him how to claim. And same thing too. And, now he's talking a few months later, like, oh my gosh, it would have been worth $10,000 if I had just waited. And hey, it could have been, but he also got to realize some free money. So you gotta look at it both ways, right? The grass is always greener on the other side, and either way, you made free money. So that's always cool. Hey Ryan, yeah, good to see you, man. I like your videos recently, and the stuff that you're doing in Colombia is pretty cool with the 4K, like walking around the places, and it's cool to see being able to vicariously live through a lot of the other Hexicans. So it's awesome to see your guys' walks, and it's really cool to see the travel. I know I mentioned earlier in the stream, Alan Bittner. He's in something Escondido. He's in Mexico, and it's been cool to see him with Randy Hilarski in Acapulco, and kind of just see like different parts of the world. The cool thing about HEX is we really do have so many Hexicans worldwide and globally, that by the time it's like time for us to, by the time COVID fucks off and we can all like get back to some sort of normalcy and whatnot, like we're going to have conventions and meetups like all around the world on a frequent basis. I would be guessing, with how many Hexicans we have worldwide. So that'd be cool. Craig says, my fear of doing a 10-year stake is speculating on there being no demand to buy HEX in 10 years from now, when a T-share price will be very high and Bank of America will have launched their own version of HEX. Yeah, I mean, there's always like, Bitcoin Cash thought that, Roger and Jihan and whatnot thought that they could kind of take that, and even with some of the stuff that we've seen, like kind of copying some of HEX's parameters and in dynamics, there always is a not always. I mean, sometimes first mover advantage doesn't work out, but the first mover advantage can have a significant running start and head start. And yeah, I mean, hey, the cool thing, like I was mentioning earlier, and to Craig's point, is, hey, I mean, the cool thing about HEX is, hey, you don't have to stake it. You're almost like incentivized. Like, the interesting about HEX is we're almost like diluting our own bags, where it's like, yeah, if you want to stake it, you can. And then it's like, if anything, that's almost like doing you worse, because, now that's some of the APY that you're not getting. But the cool thing is it's also locking up some of that supply and allowing them to slowly realize their gratified gains. And yeah, my first stake was like 1 day, just to see that HEX actually worked and that the contract was going to do what it said it was going to do. But then the other thing is like I was mentioning, like some people, they might have a 30-day time horizon, a 1 week time horizon. HEX gives you that opportunity to choose what you want. So if your time horizon is you don't think that it could be viable to do that, then the beautiful thing is like you don't have to. And yeah, the little bit that I'll say on that is, from what I've seen, the other projects that have had similar parameters, I don't know. I don't see them doing as good as Bitcoin. I mean, who knows? I mean, they might do good along with HEX too, and that's great for them too. But yeah, everyone's entitled to having those thoughts as well. And hey, for me, I'll take the gamble, totally. Let's see, Walter. Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same Same position, Walter. And here's the thing too, is like when I did it, it was like 3 wallets. Like it was like $4,500 worth of claims that I was able to make multiple MetaMask wallets now. And I had thought too, like sometimes when you're like giving like that, it can be like, man, am I giving away too many wallets? Am I giving away too much money? And then I realized, like, man, this is something that is like a retirement account. And some of these stakes that I've given away to the family members are going out for its max length. That's a long fucking time from now. So I've got some shorter ones in for them to kind of like have a little bit of hope too, and not feel like the 15 years is going to be so long from now. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it either. I mean, like I said, if you count your losses, like there's always like when Craig kind of mentions things like that too, like, yeah, there's people that have missed free claims that now it's not available, and oh, I should have got the free claim, but I didn't, and oh, I should have did this, but I didn't. Like those opportunities are numerous, I guess, if you try and count on them, and that's why for me it's like, I mean, yeah, I get the frame of thinking too, and believe me, I've felt those ways too. But then I also realized, like, man, instead of thinking of it that way and framing it that way, like, man, I'm so grateful that I have had the opportunity to get free money and get an airdrop. I mean, shit, we're pretty spoiled for those airdrops. I mean, you got the Torn airdrop, you got the 1-inch airdrop, you got the Uniswap airdrop. I mean, what else? There's a lot of free money there, man. A lot of people did well in that Tornado.cash one. A lot of people. So, and thanks to Richard, for endorsing something that was audited and that he and even Vitalik had donated to on Tornado.cash and things for the longevity of the community. So, as long as we've got people like Richard and Vitalik, contributing to the developments that they're doing, I don't see how HEX couldn't go anywhere but up in the future, especially with just how much adoption we have. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this really is like internet in I don't know, the early 90s, maybe like 93, something like that. Yeah, El Hexidente, I'm waiting for Cabana. I don't know if he's going right at 2, but I know I can actually check my phone. I know Cabana is going to be doing a stream at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, which is like 13 minutes from now. So I was just going to go until he went live, so I can host him, because we still got like 50 viewers. So yeah, I wanted to go until Cabana goes on, because Hexologist streamed earlier because he had something going on tonight, and so yeah, with Cabana going, we'll try and host him as long as they go live. So that'll be fun. There's always Hex content, and sometimes it gets overwhelming to consume and to listen to. And hey, the cool thing about Hex is I could disappear tomorrow and still be fine with the Hex stakes and whatnot. But I choose to listen to as much of the content as I can, and yeah, there's no shortage of content, I tell you what. Oh yeah, Daniel mentions, yeah, this is actually a good point. So Daniel says, now I'm waiting for the MetaMask airdrop, but that airdrop will be much later, if at all. And yeah, I agree. I join a like Knights of the Round Table thing with some of the other Hexicans on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we've talked a little bit about that. See, that's part of the interesting dynamics of airdrops and of this free money too. Is like, oh, now that Mooniswap and 1-inch and Tornado, now that people are doing all these airdrops, now you've got like speculation on who's going to do airdrops next and things like that. And I gotta say, as much as I'm not a fan of, as much as I'm not a fan of like the people spending $60 million on NFTs and JPEGs and stuff like that, I do gotta say the people that at least got the airdrop, congrats to you on that, because a lot of times when you a lot of times when you do get something for free, usually it doesn't go up in value because there's so much sell pressure from the people that got it for free. So, congrats to anyone that got any of those airdrops and realized it in fiat or crypto or just kept holding it. Where else can you say you got free money? So, but to Daniel's point, and the thing that I wanted to mention there is no one knows if MetaMask is going to do an airdrop. I mean, what we do know is that if we use MetaMask and do the swap function, the actual transaction fee that goes to MetaMask is a little bit higher than, say, a 1-inch swap, or it might be equivalent to Uniswap, things like this. But there obviously is speculation that this airdrop's going to happen and that airdrop's going to happen, and at the end of the day, I don't know. But my comment is that if they are doing an airdrop, it is a slower release, and I think that could be good for the airdrop itself and for the users of that airdrop, is that they're doing it slow and not breaking things so quickly. But that's all up in the air. And the other thing I'll say is too is, for those that are speculating on airdrops and whatnot, I would recommend that you have a worst case scenario. Say you spent a couple $1,000s or whatever in setting up wallets for what you think is going to be an airdrop. Well, it's not a bad idea to start preparing yourself for that event not happening. So now you're not being disappointed just in case it doesn't happen. And that way, hey, if that airdrop does happen and you prepared for it and you took the risk that you were willing to lose the money if it didn't happen, well, hey, now you just got showered with wealth. So works out both ways. But I mean, to Craig's point earlier, hey, dude, if you don't see like a product market fit or something like HEX staying around for that long of a time, I mean, that's totally fine. I mean, everyone does have their own comfortabilities, and especially with what we've seen in crypto in general. I mean, HEX is longer for HEX has been around. HEX has longer stakes than Bitcoin's been around, and so for some people, it's like, man, that is speculation, obviously, and things like this, and I don't know. For me, my horse kind of is on lucky number HEX, but I do respect everyone's opinions and viewpoints as well, because I think it's really cool to hear opposing opinions, and I think it's cool to hear everyone's thought process, because it definitely isn't always the same. So I appreciate you being able to comment there, man. And even though there was a whole bunch of backlash from all the streams, I did think it was cool to have you on. So thanks for all the people that are willing to come on and chit chat and answer questions and hang out. Because at the end of the day, when Kinetics even had Trevon on, like, a whole bunch of people shit talking, and that's fine. I know it's obviously controversial, but Kinetics' point was that, hey, yeah, even though we might not share this thing in common, well, we do share this other thing in common, which is HEX. And so, instead of I don't know, pointing out the obvious things, like, hey, let's try and find some sort of common ground and commonality on the things that we can find in common and the things that we can relate to. Because if we're just slashing everyone's neck at every opportunity and chopping people at the ankle at every opportunity that we can, then it's just not going to be super inviting for people to come up to. I mean, you gotta allow people to be human and make mistakes and correct those mistakes and get into other things. So I don't know. That's just a couple of thoughts I had. All right, so a couple, the 1-inch. So I got I think a couple of them, 2 of them, and because there was like an announcement that Uniswap and 1-inch were gonna do a airdrop, and for whatever reason, I did all my liquidity on Uniswap. I had never even used 1-inch. So when the 1-inch airdrop came out, I was kind of bummed. It's like, okay, like I said, at the end of the day, it's petty because you got bummed over free money that you didn't get. Like, how spoiled are you? But then, like a couple months later, the airdrop for the Mooniswap liquidity providers and the users of Mooniswap got theirs. So yeah, that was like another like $3,000 free money, that was able to be utilized. So pretty cool. And yeah, like I said, we'll to El Hexadente's point, whenever Cabana goes, we'll host him and just end it there. But it's been a cool stream. I mean, hey, thanks for everyone that's been joining so far. We've kept like a constant audience of like 58 people right now, and appreciate all the people in the chat. You good, buddy? Oh, this is what he's saying. In the Bank America version, I wonder who the penalties will go to. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is like certificate of deposit and time locks, they're not new. And with even with HEX doing it being the first one to do it on crypto, we've seen others do similar concepts. And hey, I think it goes to show you the credibility of HEX, right? If someone is copying your answers on a test, well, hey, they probably think you've got the right answer, and they're willing to take you getting the answer wrong than they are to just guess it randomly. So I mean, it's humbling. I mean, it's cool to see things like EIP 1559 being talked about and being implemented in the future soon, hopefully with Ethereum. But HEX already has the coin burning, and HEX has a lot of these things that Ethereum has been talking about when it comes to the proof of work change, and it's cool to see. I mean, it's nice to see things being implemented successfully. I mean, HEX has the proof of staking and the coin burning and things like that I mentioned. So it goes to show you that when Ethereum and Vitalik talks about these proposals, yeah, it goes to show you that, hey, these are valid, and hey, this can make the price pressure go up, and it can make it more, more valuable too. So, all right, just looking at some of the chats. Trolls are gonna troll. Yeah, exactly. Hey, trolls be tripping. Trolls be tripping. It's all good though, because from what I've learned, I want to do a psychology stream with Maddie, but yeah, I've studied psychology for many years too, probably a decade now too, and from what I do notice from the trolls and people that are seeking attention, Richard mentions it a lot, but a lot of it is like seeking attention, and is like a right, like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, man, if someone's willing to join another person's stream just to down talk them or like, mention like character flaws and stuff, it's like, wow, like you got nothing better to do with your time than to join my stream. Not saying that we have trolls in the chat, because we don't, but I know Richard's talked about that, and I know Richard's even talked about recently on Twitter. And sometimes we see this where like, hey, maybe I am spending too much time on Twitter, or maybe I am spending too much time thinking I'm being productive when in reality I'm not. How can I spend that time more valuably and positively impacting the people's lives around me and my own self. So those are always cool things to think about in HEX, because the product itself, it's consistent. It's shown its consistency. It's shown its 100% uptime, and now it's just getting the adoption. So that's really what we've got going on, and I think that's awesome. So, yep, it's all good. Chris J, day about to turn over. Yeah, hey, yeah, you're right. Since Hexo is not here, I can. Whoops. Shouldn't say since he's not here, but since he's already done his stream for the day, I can go over that. Yeah, the day Oh shit! Actually, because of daylight savings, it's actually telling me, yeah, it's an hour from now. So because of that, yeah, I'll let Cabana do it if he wants to. He can show the stats for the rollover. So yeah, I mean, Cabana, if you're there, feel free to start your stream whenever, man, and I'll host you. But I'll entertain the chat for a couple more minutes, and yeah, the stream's actually gone by pretty quick. So let's see. He's responding to "Don't Panic." I think I got too emotionally involved, but it does hurt when people talk shit. Yeah, hey, Richard talks about this a lot. Where, I mean, Richard's been retired since 23, and no one ever knows like what he bought or sold, but I think it's fair. At least my opinions is, yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself, and so Richard kind of mentioned it too. Is like when people like come at him and like, oh, how does it feel to be poor? And it's like, man, I wish I could just flex on you and say that I'm a billionaire, or I wish I could just flex on you and say that blah blah blah. But what good would that do to a troll? Like, they probably wouldn't even be convinced in the first place that it was legit. So it's tough. I mean, social media is great, but tools are great, but they can also be I don't know. They can also hinder your productivity, and I've definitely been guilty of that too. So, anyways, yeah, we're gonna wrap up in just a few minutes here. I want to say shout out to my coworker for getting into HEX. I know, like I said, at work, I'm kind of like the crypto guy, and have been to for a while, and it's nice because I'm the kind of guy that like I'm not going to be like preaching the gospel and get into HEX and get into crypto. But if someone had any questions, they could always come and ask me, and I would at least give them my experience and my opinions. But shout out to the coworker that he had been in some other cryptos for, I don't even know his full story. It might actually be cool to get him on here. But he got into HEX the other day, and I asked him too. I said, hey, are you going to stake it? Like, you've got some HEX now. And he said he did stake it for either his or his kid's birthday. So really cool to see you do that. And, big thumbs up to you, man. So it's awesome that I could help you out a little bit with the information. And I shared with him too. I don't know if he's watching this or not, but he might be one of the 56 people that are watching. But I shared with him the Richard and Jane Jane King interview, which if you haven't seen it already, you probably should go back. It's like a 35-minute video, and that's where Richard talks about forking Ethereum, talks about having 81 validators, kind of like a proof of stake chain that HEX would run on top of. I don't know all the details, but I know that kind of has been the talk of the house, I guess. So there's always something going on in the HEX, but Richard was looking for some Solidity developers. So if you know Solidity, reach Richard out at t.me/Richard Hart. So let's see what else we got here. Hey, Bran, yeah, good to see you, Fizzy Monk. Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. One Hexy Mofo. Yeah, I couldn't agree with this more, man. Says we all need to do things to scale our HEX message. Yeah, and honestly, part of that is like leading by example and the honey over the vinegar. I mean, it's so easy to watch like the HEX 2020 rewind and be like, oh, you know what? You thought HEX was a scam? F you and blah blah blah. But then it's like, okay, like we've already won the battle. Like how much, some people do need to. Can I mod you? I don't know if I've ever seen you, man. You're going to have to earn your mod. I don't just mod anyone. Thanks for asking. I mean, hey, sometimes you got to ask just to get it. But I don't know if I've seen you before in chat, so I'm not just going to mod you. And, the mod hammer goes to those that have been in the chat for a while that have shown their consistency, just like HEX. But I'll consider it, yeah. Not like I don't have enough mods already, but we'll consider. Mr. Contrarian, and I might be off by an hour. I might be off by an hour for a Cabana. Yeah, exactly, children. That's how I feel. Hey, you're a good mod. Yeah, I want to help. I want to help ban innocent bystanders. That sounds opposite of what I want. I mean, innocent bystanders, you realize that means like people that aren't really doing anything bad. I'm good at it, bro. Yeah, no thanks. I've got people that can do that. And anyways, like, yeah, the other thing is too is like, how much troll do you allow in the chat and the comments, and you got to allow like a certain amount, right? So you're not just iron fist banning everyone, but yeah, we're good right now for the mods. But so yeah, I want to kind of wrap it up there. Let's look at the chat real quick here. Want to make sure DJ is actually a mod. But yeah, I want to say shout out to everyone that's watching, that's continued to watch. We got a lot of viewers today, and got a good participation. So just want to, yeah, cool. We got some people in the chat. So yeah, DJ is already a mod there. I will practice in the meantime. Yeah, hey, pause. Totally, man. Hey, whoever you are, if you can lead by example, then earn my trust, then maybe you'll keep it. So, Lo, good to see you. Isaac Ramos says, "Hey, thanks BallietBran for this chat. You're welcome. Hey, I like to hear this, man. This is super cool." Says your chats. Let me actually highlight it in StreamYard. So Isaac, thank you. Says your chats are livelier and constantly improving. Keep up the excellent work. Hey, cool, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, there's always improvements to make, right? For me, especially someone that's like pretty like self-aware and like self-critical, it's easy to be like, oh man, like I got this flaw that I need to improve in this and this and this. But like I said, if you count those, then you'll have never-ending mistakes that you need to clean up. But got to focus on what's good and what's legit, and appreciate that feedback. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for everyone watching right now. Yeah, Cabana Crypto, he's supposed to be going live within the next hour. I thought it was going to be right now at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it might actually be an hour now. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone. If anyone has any last-minute questions, you can definitely ask. Terminator Waifu Rebellion. Hey, I recognize that name from the Tuesday stream. He says very selective alt season. Yeah, I mean that each market cycle is different, right? And sometimes it's shorter duration, but it's more exaggerated on the charts, right? It's more volatile. And then sometimes it's longer, and then I don't know, I guess less volatile price wise, but it has really been a selective alt season, and who knows? I mean, I'm still of the opinion that yeah, we could still be in this bull market for another solid year or something like that. But there just are those, when Richard mentions like topping signals and stuff like that, there just are those things that do make you a little bit cautious, that do kind of make you like pump the brakes a little bit and realize like, okay, where are we? Like these, $66 million NFTs and things like that. Like, I guess degeneracy is always going to exist. So you kind of have to factor that into it as well. But to their point, yeah, I mean, very selective alt season, so that's definitely a good observation. Hey, thanks, DJ Cryptomatic. Good to see you. Ahmed is pretty much all I can pronounce there, but it says, will the $1.5 billion stake end? 1 second. Will the $1.5 billion stake end at the end of March 15th day or the beginning of the day? So today's March 4th. I think it's going to be like 25 hours from now. I think it's going to be about 25 hours from now, because it's got a full day for it to roll over and realize that. So I think from my clock, I think it's about 25 hours from now. See, don't panic. What do you? Oh, hey, I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. Yeah. Don't panic says, what do you think about Coinbase going public? I think it just legitimizes crypto more. It also gives, an IPO, initial public offering. It allows, the public to invest and things like that. I think it's like I said, just another reason that crypto is here to stay and that it's not going anywhere. Coinbase has been around for a long time. I think it's bullish. I think it's bullish for the market personally. Yeah, one heximofo. I would almost agree with that. Yeah, each market's kind of different, and usually one pumps up like what we saw in 2017 was Bitcoin topped out, and then the economic mass started flowing into Ethereum and alt. So we'll see what happens this go around, but I definitely agree. There's definitely even to like Tarnweek's point, there's definitely just because there is these possibilities of things going on and degeneracy here and this and stuff like that, there is still that possibility of the market going for the bull run going for a little while. So yeah, crypto Ewok, I think it is tomorrow. Yep. 25 hours from now. Ahmed, hey, you're welcome, man. Happy to see you in chat. Thanks for contributing on Periscope. Good to see that. When we hit alt season. Oh, yep. Re is correct. Yeah, matures in 50 minutes. Oh, in 50 minutes. Yeah, yeah, see, exactly. Irmif Noy. So yeah, March 15th starts in 1 hour. So I don't know if it's an hour from now or if it's 25 hours from now on the actual 15th my time. So I think you're actually right, Irmif, that it is in like 56 minutes. So we either know it's in 56 minutes or it's in like 25 hours. But that's pretty much all I have for everyone. Covered pretty much all I wanted to say. There's obviously a lot of Hexagon content like there always is. So Cabanas should be going in like the next hour. Despide to Jefe is on right now. Quit your job. He's on right now. Identity Block had a recent video. I didn't listen to all of it, but another video for the Spanish speakers out there. What else? Cabana Crypto had a stream this morning with Silver the Antidote. Hexologist had a stream this morning because he's got something to do this evening with the fam. So thank you for still being able to do your stream. Like, how freaking badass of a community for someone like Hexologist to be streaming for like what? It's like 468 days. We're on day 468, and he's been streaming every day. Like, goddamn, dude. Give yourself a clap to Hexologist, because what other kind of community can actually like be accountable to their word and do what they said they were going to do. And that's why it's so cool that we've got Hex. And I mentioned earlier with Bitcoin, people can talk about diamond hands and this and that all they want, but at the end of the day in Hex, you can actually prove that. You can prove, you can back up what you're saying by your average stake length or by staking and by locking it. So I think that's pretty cool. Hey, Mr. Contrarian, you're welcome. We'll say hi to the chat room for just another minute, and then we'll get on out of here. Irmif says, yeah, this is the part I'm not too sure either. It says, yep, not sure of the stake date, though, the start stake. So don't know if it's going to, yeah, we know it's soon. And that's the other thing, too, that Silver and Cabana kind of talked about earlier is that, it doesn't make sense to be selling now. And the other thing we need to realize, too, is it's not just single people in Hex now. I mean, there are institutional investors in Hex and big money in entities in Hex, right? So a lot of us look at those stakes and we think of it from our shoes, like, oh man, if I had $1.5 billion stake, well, I've got all these other things I could see spending this money on. So who knows? They might actually sell. and we'll see what they end up doing. But even at worst case scenario, if they did, it's like, man, you just sold one of the best opportunities of your life. And if you happen to have, like, say even right now, say you got like 100 T-shares, and say it goes to $1 and you sell everything. Well, guess what? That's fine. You made a profit, great, but now you don't have that opportunity to sell higher. And so with that $1.5 billion coming out now, I mean, clearly they don't seem to. Oh, Kibana just started. Okay, cool. Let me go into Twitch real quick. So happy he started. We'll get this going real quick here. Twitch.tv. Let me make sure I can host Mr. Kibana. Let's see. Yep. He is on Twitch. All right, y'all. So we're gonna go host Kibana for his stream. Don't even know who all he's having on, but I know it's gonna be good. So, and it's gonna take just another second before it allows me to host him. But yeah, where you can find me, just allmylinks.com/BallietBran. And doesn't look like he's on Twitch yet. 1 second here. Let's see if we can't host Kibana. So he was on YouTube. Give me just a second. Yeah, let's hold on, children. 1 second. It said he was live like 2 seconds. So I mean, he's at least live on YouTube. Go check him out there. I'll try to host him on Twitch real quick here. If not, just go over to YouTube to Kibana Crypto. I'm gonna try and host him here, but I don't know if it's gonna let me. Okay, no, it is gonna let me. Okay. We're hosting Kibana. Finally. All right, everyone, thank you for the stream. Thank you for tuning in, and let's go show Kibana what's up, and let's go show him some support. So thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week.